Okay, this is the XJO S&P 200, and just gone back 500 bars on the weekly and taken these two pivot lows and extended them out for some possible future support. I've also taken a high volume bar here at the 3500. It doesn't show here, but I have taken it from, I had to take it from another charting package because I don't have volume in there for some reason. But anyway, I'll just zoom in a little bit. Now we've still got our fib from the low to the high, and it has been initially bounced off the 61 or close to there, and there has been congesting between the 38 and 50 for a while, and it's just broken past the 50 on its way to the 61 and probably to the bottom of our original shakeout bar. So we'll just zoom in. I'll get rid of those fibs for a minute. So we'll just recap. We've got a few levels just based on high volume bars in the past. These two here are based on this high volume bar, which is also part of another high volume bar that's further left. But anyway, you can see it's acted as a band of support and resistance, and when we broke through there, it had to there was an energetic bar that broke straight through there very quickly. So they were trying to bust past that area, and they're not interested in getting back above that area until they've accumulated, or until they've taken the price to their accumulation zone, which we are speculating could be around about here, or perhaps we have a phase of accumulation or redistribution. But anyway, what we have, so we had our shakeout, and then we had high volume kick in as buyers stepped in to take the price up, but we're never able to get much headway past this bar, and every time we try to push into our original down bar and into this area of supply just above, the price has been repelled. So we had light volume trying to get back up there, pushed through. We've got, again, had a no demand, which is lightest volume in 3 bars, and it's also an up thrust, so that was rejected. Then we had a nice test a few weeks back. It's a down bar closing high into the area of our shakeout, and then for a successful test we want the price to close higher next bar, and that didn't happen, so that test failed. The next bar closed lower. Now that was a test as well, but the volume or the supply is now greater. So even though there's buying in this bar, there's also a lot of selling. If they're going to take it higher, they want to remove that selling from this area, and light volume will tell them that. But if they're still accumulating, which is when you get these big falls here like this, they come in and buy them in phases, but then they and it can take time for the process of accumulation to occur. If they're not interested in higher prices yet, as they're showing us, it's because they're interested in lower prices, and they've been trying to push, I think, to the bottom of this bar to test for supply around this area, and if they can, they'll even break below there. It all depends on when they're done. So we had the test from a few weeks back failed because the next bar closed lower, but that's a test as well, but the supply is high. So for that test, we wanted price to close higher. Now to say that test was successful, but as you can see, it's failed quite miserably. And what we're looking for was volume to get less and less as the selling was absorbed, but the supply has actually been increasing, and it looks like there's been an effort to push lower into this bar, towards the low of this bar, and there's been some sort of, looks like a little bit of capitulation there. Not really capitulation, hang on, the volume's not really high enough, but it just confirms that supply is still present in this area, and that could be because they want to have a run at the support line and take it lower. It could be that they just want to accumulate lower around the support line to see what they can get. They possibly may want to do a bit of stop hunting below the line as well before taking it back up. We don't know. All we know is at the moment we have weak bars. That's our strong bar. That's our strong bar with buying in it. Then we have weak bars. That's a weak bar. We have a weak bar. We have a potentially strong bar, but it fails, so that makes it a weak bar as well. Again, we have a potentially strong bar, but price doesn't. We want for it to be confirmed. We want price to go higher, but it's a weak bar. But you know, it's just showing weakness. Now, and supply is actually increasing again, so there's a lot of selling going on, and we know smart money buy on down bars, so this is a down bar, but it's got a very wide spread, so there's a lot of, you know, in this case, supply is overcoming demand. If there's any hidden buying in there, we might see a bit of a bounce, but anyway, that's it's not acting. We had a weak bar there, potentially strong bars that failed. That's failed now, so at the moment it's acting weak. You can't say anything about that. And we've got a potentially strong bar here, so we'll probably go and visit the bottom of that bar, I'd say, at some stage, if not next week, maybe a bit later on. But if we do get a bounce from here, then we want to see these light volume, you know, down bars. That's still, even though that's the lightest volume in 3 bars, it's still not really light, you know. You get some light volume bars like this over here. That's what we want to see. So while supply is present, the professionals aren't going to take it higher, and if they're accumulating, they don't want to take it higher. They want to take it as low as they possibly can. And what they've got now is they have new buyers here enter the market, who they're now pressuring. Those positions are now under pressure, and yeah, so we'll just have to see. So we've got support there at 3765 at the moment. We've got the 3500 just below there. You see that this was the lows of the GFC. This is where they were. There's a process of accumulation there in that bottom. And once they broke out of that area of accumulation, they came back and tested, and boom, away she went. So if we want trying to form a long-term view, we can't really till it's broken. Well, one, we want it to break out of this downtrend, but 2, at least we want to see it break the high of this bar and come back and test on light volume, and then make a higher pivot low above that bar, and that would be a start. So we haven't really got that for a long-term view. For a short view, long-term or longer term, we want to see that bar broken to the downside, and then any weak bars like up thrusting and no demand like that are very shortable, or you can you know, actually these 3 bars, I mean, that bar there was quite shortable as well, because it's a no demand up thrust into this other weakness behind us. But really, once we start getting close to this support line, then we want to be very careful about being short, because that can possibly support. But once we break through there and then we get some weakness coming back in, we can bounce some short trades off that. Start looking at our blue chips for short opportunities. But at the moment, it's still, while it's in the range of that bar, then we don't really have a longer term view just yet, I don't think, because of the volume and the amount of buying. There's a lot of buying and a lot of selling, a lot of activity in that bar. We want to see that bar taken out to the upside or the downside to decide what we think long term. Whether this is possibly accumulated. Well, longer term, you'd have to say, you know, we haven't broken this downtrend by any means. So, I mean, that's and we're only speculating on a possible change of trend based on the volume here. in this shakeout. And but anyway, we might just have a look at the daily on that one. On the daily, you do get some very shortable bars. The weak bars tend to stand out a lot more. Daily chart, we have the downtrend there, which is still in play, very much in play. So we've got the bottom of that trend channel. I've had this multi-pivot line in for a while now, and that's still tracking that at the moment. So the trend is still down. Now we had our shakeout here with a high volume down, and then we had this spring, so there was buying, smart money buying down bars, so there was buying on these bars, but some accumulation coming within these bars and shifted it up and sideways. But when we get to the top, we get our no demand, light volume up, trying to penetrate back up into past these bars, and it just didn't happen. When we had an up thrust, we had no demand. That was a very shortable no demand bar because it's trying to penetrate through this resistance level, and you could have shorted the market. Look for your short trades on your blue chip or whatever you like to short, I suppose. That was also very light volume going up, and a two-bar reversal there. So that was also we're a bit close to the support there to actually be short there, but we did have some short-term short trades there that were very nice. And yeah, now we've got really high volume kicking in again. That's evidence on the daily. We know smart money like to buy on down bars, so we'll just have to see what happens on Monday. If we get a bit of a bounce or a bit of response to this multi-pivot line, or if we go further, we don't know. There's a bit of buying in the bottom, and but you know, on the day, supply has overcome demand. We can only speculate if perhaps smart money were trying to absorb some of that demand, then we should see a bit of a kick up on Monday. But really, I think we've got to start looking now at the bottom of this bar now, because I think that's where they want to accumulate more within the range of this bar, and even lower if they can. And we can also have a look possibly at some pitchforks. I'll just go, which I have. Here's one I prepared earlier. There we go. This is the daily one. These are ones I've had for a while now. There's a long-term pitchfork which is broken to the downside. And then I've had this black one here. I've just extended it into channels just to see where it picked up previous price action. And then I've just kept adding warning lines. So we had our Gopian rule failure, HR failure up here. Gopian's rule, if price fails to, or a price pivots before it should, it will usually take out the previous pivot low, which it actually did. It's broken down past the pitchfork, came up and tested, which is what they tend to do. Came down, broke straight past the first warning, nearly hit the second warning, then jumped up to test. Back to test it never back tested the first warning, so it's done that now. And so we've got this second warning line here that may provide might get a bit of a reaction. We can probably add another one now. Oh, hang on, we've got second one. I got the third warning in there. So there's the third warning in there. There's our GFC lows as well. So I'll probably actually put a trigger line, which is there and there, to have a look at. But this is all doomsday stuff. But anyway, we can put the lines in anyway. And we might put in, hang on, I might just put in some, just have a muck around with some shorter term pitchforks. And we could probably do one from there to that low there to that high there. Okay, so that provides us with a sort of a, well, that is a good multi-pivot line. Well, to there it was anyway. So we've got a bit of a cluster of pivot points just around about here. So you may get a response. So be careful shorting there because you might have a little bit of a bounce area even if it wants to go further down. We can also put probably a better one would be, there's a short-term one right there. I'll get rid of that big one. So there's one there that it's been tracking quite well. I wonder what it gives me if I extend that out a bit. So it catches those pivots there as well. I could probably just use that as my handle of my pitchfork actually. Oh no, because then I miss this low. But anyway, that's a multi-pivot line there anyway. And I think I had that on the other chart as it was. So there you go. Get rid of that. So it's tracking the median line, and we've got the bottom tine there as possible support. And we've hit the median line there, and it's actually closed right on it. So that could possibly kick up, especially if there was some hidden buying and all that high volume that came in there. Could get a kick up to the to test the top of this bar. If we get some really weak no demand bars, don't have the volume here, but like that, trying to re-penetrate up through here, through the top of this here. Now this is going to act as a bit of resistance. They would probably be very shortable, especially if they're towards the top of the tine of the pitchfork. Any weak bars up there, trying to penetrate back through, would probably be shortable back to the median line or to the lows of the of our shakeout over here. The other thing to note, we are in a downtrend, so all these pitchforks are trending down, except for my really big one, which is actually broken now. I can't actually get an uptrending pitchfork that's valid still. So those swings, it made it swing and reversed there. So that's one way you can get some immediate idea of a direction. There's an example of another Hagopian rule failure. If you use those swings, it failed to reach the median and reversed. That was very shortable because you had the pitchfork giving you a target past your previous pivot low, and also it was a no demand and up thrust in a weak area. So and then once you broke the trigger line, it became shortable there as well, I suppose. I mean, if you went short on the break of the trigger, you might have got stopped out, and that's because you're close to the support line. But it actually did work out in the longer term. So, but anyway, the trend is down, so definitely. So there's no argument about that. So your easier trades are going to be your short trades, but you can still pick the right spot to go short. The right spot would probably be any weak bars now, no demand, trying to re-penetrate above the top of this bar, and you'd have to be careful trying to short at the bottom of this bar. If price were to go back up, you'd want it to come back and test on light volume on top of this bar, and that's something we haven't seen, because we've just had high volume down bars coming through here. Now light volume bars were up bars, not down bars. So we never actually got a longer term long entry, VSA entry, trying to bounce off this bar, apart from the fact that we're in a downtrend anyway. So you're strong. We pay more attention to our weak bars in a downtrend, not so much to our strong bars, because your strong bars can sometimes just move the price sideways in a downtrend, and then you could say the same true for the weak bars in an uptrend. Sometimes only move it sideways or down, or give you a little bit of a retraced So but anyway, so we got a few levels there to watch, and a few pitchforks there to watch as well. And that's the XJO.